Instagram is like a treadmill where you're running as fast as you can, but the second you stop, you fly off the back and nobody remembers you were ever there. And I know that sounds dramatic, but if you've been posting on Instagram for more than a few months, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Quick thing before we dive into this: if Instagram is exhausting you, but you're not sure if it's just Instagram or if there's other stuff going on, like maybe it's also the algorithm anxiety, financial stress, or just the fact that you're doing too much, I built a free quiz that'll help you figure out what's actually burning you out. Because here's the thing: if Instagram is only 30% of your burnout, but you quit Instagram thinking it will solve everything, you're still going to be 70% burnout, and that's not helpful. So the quiz helps you see the full picture before you make any big decisions. The link is in the pinned comment. So let's get back. Say you post something, it gets some views for a few hours and then it's dead. Completely dead. Like it never existed. And tomorrow you have to do it all over again, because if you don't post, the algorithm just moves on to someone who will. And that's what makes Instagram different from other platforms. It's not that you're posting too much, it's that you're posting constantly and nothing you make actually lasts. So you never feel like you're making progress. You just feel like you're running to stay in the same place. I want to explain why Instagram is built this way, why it punishes you for taking breaks, and what I learned from managing client accounts about why this platform is such a trap for creators who are trying to build something sustainable. So here's the thing about Instagram that I think breaks people. Everything you post has a 24-hour lifespan, and then it just dies. And I don't mean it gets fewer views. I mean it literally stops existing in any meaningful way. You post a reel and for the first few hours it does pretty well. Maybe you get a few thousand views, some comments, some saves, and you're like, okay, cool, this one's working. But then you wake up the next morning and it's completely flatlined. No new views, no new engagement, just nothing. And at first you think, well, that's just how social media works, right? Things move fast. But then you start to realize that Instagram isn't just moving fast, it's actively erasing your work every single day. I scroll back through my feed and I see a reel I spend a lot of hours on, and it has the energy of, alright, I made that. Like, it's this distant memory. And the reason it feels like a distant memory is because Instagram treated it like it stopped mattering the second the clock hits 24 hours. Compare that to YouTube, where a video I posted months ago is still getting views every single day. Or even a blog post that someone wrote 5 years ago that still ranks on Google. Those things have staying power. Instagram doesn't give you staying power. It gives you a brief moment of visibility and then it asks you to do it again tomorrow. And again the next day, and the day after that, and again the next day after that. And if you stop for even a few days, it's like you never existed in the first place. You end up in the situation where you're creating constantly. But nothing you create actually lasts, which means you're working really hard, but you're not building anything permanent. You're just feeding the machine that forgets about you the second you stop feeding it. Okay, so here's where it gets really dark. And this is the part that I think messes with people's heads the most. Instagram doesn't just ignore you when you stop posting, it actively punishes you for it. And I know this because I used to manage Instagram strategies for clients. I watched this pattern play out over and over and over again. They would post something constantly for a week or two, get decent reach, and then life would happen. They take a few days off and their next post would just die. And it wasn't subtle. We're talking about posts that would normally reach a few thousand people in the first few hours, suddenly only reaching a few hundred. And the only thing that changed was that they took a break. Same content quality, same posting time, same strategy. But Instagram saw the gap and decided to show their content to fewer people as a result. And this creates this horrible psychological trap where you can't ever relax, because relaxing has a direct measurable cost. You lose reach, you lose momentum, and you have to spend the next week rebuilding what you had before you took the break. And I think a lot of creators feel this, but don't know how to talk about it. this sense that Instagram isn't just asking you to post, it's asking you to be always available, always performing, always feeding the machine. And if you stop for even a moment, you get punished for it. Alright, so there's another layer to this that I want to talk about. And it's the way Instagram makes you feel like your whole life has to be presentable all the time. And I'm not even talking about the obvious stuff, like comparing yourself to people with better gear or bigger followings. I'm talking about the way Instagram turns everything in your life into potential content, which sounds great in theory, but actually exhausting in practice. Like, I'll be doing something totally normal, making coffee, going for a walk, working on a project, and there is this voice in the back of my head that goes, you should film this. This could be real. People would probably engage with this. And suddenly, I'm not just living my life, I'm performing my life for an invisible audience. And the weird thing is that Instagram rewards this. The more you turn your entire existence into content, the more the algorithm likes you. But it comes at this cost where you stop being able to do anything without thinking about how it would look on Instagram. I realized this when I was on vacation last year, and I spent more time thinking about how to frame the sunset for a good reel than I spent actually enjoying the sunset. And afterwards, I felt this wave of sadness because I just had optimized a beautiful moment into content. And I think a lot of creators feel this, but don't really know how to articulate this. This sense that Instagram isn't just asking you to post, it's asking you to commodify every single experience you have, and that's a really lonely way to live. Because you're never off the clock. You're never just a person doing normal things. You're always a content creator evaluating whether this moment is Instagram worthy or not. And that constant evaluation is exhausting in a way that's hard to explain to people who don't do this for a living. And the worst part is that the content you make in a state when you're extracting moments from your life to feed the algorithm, it doesn't even feel good to make. You're not making it because you're feeling inspired, you're making it because you feel obligated. And your audience can tell the difference, even if they can't say why. Okay, and here's the part that really bothers me about the Instagram treadmill. Every hour you spend on Instagram is an hour you're not spending something that actually belongs to you and that actually lasts. And like I said, I know that sounds dramatic, but think about it. If you spend a year posting on Instagram every single day and then Instagram changes the algorithm or your account gets hacked or the platform just becomes less relevant, what do you have to show for that year? You don't have an email list, you don't have a YouTube channel with evergreen content, you don't have anything that you actually own. You just have a bunch of posts that Instagram controls and that will disappear into the void the second people stop scrolling. I'm not saying Instagram is useless. I'm saying it's a really bad foundation for a business or a career because Instagram is designed to keep you dependent on Instagram. They don't want you building an email list. They don't want you sending people to your website. They want you posting on their platform constantly so they can serve ads around your content. But that doesn't serve you, it serves them. And I think a lot of us know this on some level, but we keep doing it anyway because Instagram gives these quick little dopamine hits. You post something, you get 50 likes in the first 10 minutes, you feel validated. And that immediate feedback loop is really seductive compared to something building an email list, which feels slow and boring and doesn't give you that instant gratification. But the problem with living off instant gratification is that it never adds up to anything long term. It just keeps you running in place. What I've started doing is treating Instagram like a distribution channel instead of a building platform. I make one YouTube video and then I chop it up into a few Instagram reels, and that way I'm not creating for Instagram. I'm just repurposing what I already made for a platform that actually rewards long-form content. And that shift has made Instagram feel way less suffocating. Because I'm not on the treadmill anymore, I'm building something on YouTube, and Instagram is just this side thing that takes 10 minutes instead of dominating my entire day. Okay, so I want to be fair here, because Instagram can work as a foundation for some people. I've seen creators who build entire businesses just off Instagram, sending people to their website, selling products, running a sustainable thing. And if that's you, if Instagram is genuinely working for you and you're building something real off of it, then ignore everything I just said. Keep doing what you're doing. But here's what I've noticed. The people who make Instagram work long term aren't just posting reels every day and hoping for the best. They're usually doing one of two things. Either they're using Instagram to drive people to an email list or a website they actually own, so Instagram is just the top of the funnel but not the whole business, or they've built such a strong brand that Instagram kind of doesn't matter anymore. Like, they could disappear tomorrow and their audience would find them somewhere else because the connection is that strong. But if you're still in the phase where you're dependent on Instagram showing your content to people, where you don't have an email list or a website or any owned audience, then you're really vulnerable. Because Instagram can change the algorithm tomorrow and they can cut your reach in half and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think we all watched this happen to people. One day they're getting 10,000 views per reel and next week it's 800 and they have no idea why and they can't get anyone at Instagram to explain it to them. So they just spiral, trying everything, changing their content, changing their strategy. And nothing works because the problem isn't their content. The problem is that Instagram decided to stop showing it. Instagram can be part of your strategy, but it's a really bad idea to make it your only strategy. Because the second Instagram decides you're not valuable anymore, you have nothing to fall back on. And that's not sustainable, that's just super risky. So yeah, that's the Instagram treadmill. You're posting constantly, your work disappears every 24 hours, the platform punishes you for resting, and unless you're actively building something you own alongside it, you're basically just renting your audience from Instagram and they can evict you whenever they want. Instagram can absolutely be part of a sustainable strategy, but a terrible foundation. Because foundations need to be things you control, and you don't control Instagram. Instagram controls you. So if this is resonating with you and you're feeling burned out and exhausted, but you're not sure exactly why, take that quiz I mentioned in the beginning. It will help you figure out if Instagram is the main problem or if there's other stuff going on too. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description. It takes just a couple of minutes and we see us in the next video.